And
hello, everybody. Good evening, and thank you all for being here. And yes, we're going to have a good evening. Yeah, mute. Go ahead. We're going to be recording. We already started. If you don't want your image, you can go down to stop video. It'll mostly be David's image as he's presenting. And also, we're going to mute everybody or ask you to mute so there isn't background noise. I will send out a feedback survey and a link to our video. We also have it on our YouTube channel. That's also a tab on our website that shows all of our past videos. We have a Zoom presentation video website on our website as well of all of our past videos. So you will see that email after this presentation.
all right, well, let me
Thank
go
you.
ahead and introduce David, who, as I said, really doesn't need introduction. But this is the fourth time that David's hosted us for the Central Washington show, 2 magical potlucks in the gallery, in the old gallery. And last year we were still in the old gallery. This is the first one that's fully in the new gallery, and we're really pleased about that. David continues to be committed to the visual arts and our diverse community. And it's a major achievement that he was able to, during COVID, figure out how to successfully advocate for design and find funding for the new Larson Gallery. I asked David what his biggest challenge was with the new Larson Gallery. And he said, ironically, that most of the challenges have been kind of technical challenges. He had a real problem with the flooring, and it had to be replaced, and it slowed everything down and made everything complicated. And then he's also been having problems with lighting, and they seem to be ongoing and changing. But he said, ironically, that having the gallery closed for quite a while during the pandemic was helpful. It gave him some protected time to work on things. He was able to get a lot of things done. He wouldn't choose it, I don't think, but since it happened, he took good advantage of that. So we're really pleased that he's doing a Zoom talk for us again this year. David, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, one of the things that I did before COVID hit was to apply for a grant from the American Alliance of Museums where they have what they call a museum accreditation program, or they call it MAP. You get a MAP grant, and there's lots of MAP grants, but the one I chose was to have us go through looking at how we are organized. So all of our documents, our policies, all that kind of stuff. And so the board during 2020 had a fun time working on that. So we all got together every month and talked about how we are going. We got a strategic plan in place. We got a collections policy. We got all these things. We had a Zoom visit with an expert kind of, so that we went over all of our stuff. So during that year, we got a lot of documents done. Now, the next couple steps will be to submit our documents to the American Alliance of Museums for what they call a documentation review. And then the next step is to get accredited. And it's to get accredited, it's kind of like the good housekeeping seal of approval. So you get this American Alliance of Museums accreditation, which we got at the museum when I was there. And it enables you to be able to do bigger and better exhibits, things like that. So it just kind of shows you that you're doing everything right. So it was a good time for us to kind of go through everything we did, make sure we're doing everything right. So that was being down during that time was actually not a bad for us in a way. So got a lot of paperwork done, which I've been putting off for years. So I'm actually going to talk to you a little bit about, let me share my screen about the Central Washington show. Hopefully you can see the PowerPoint that's up there. The Central Washington show, this is the 66th year this is up. Considering that the gallery is about 72 years old, it's been going for a long time. It first started out as the Yakima artist show, and then it was Yakima, Kit-a-Tat, and Click-a-Tat, and then it just kept expanding from there. So it's been going for quite a long time. This year, I think we got a record number of entries. We got 243 entries from 99 artists. I'll go back a ways. And then our juror, Ryan James, who owns Ryan James Fine Arts in Kirkland, ended up picking 67 pieces from 53 artists. And I think it was just the right amount in the new gallery. I mean, that's, 70 pieces seems to be a good amount to have in there without adding lots of extra walls. But Ryan James was really fun to work with. He would look forward to coming out to Yakima. I found him actually because he's on the board of the Bellevue Arts Museum. And I went there looking first for a juror and then found Ryan James. And so he's heavily involved with that and juried a lot of shows and has his own place, Ryan James Fine Arts in Kirkland. So what I wanted to show you is a 7-minute video that I put together to announce the winners of the show. One thing about with COVID and all that is that we can't have a large group of people come to the gallery all at once to get awards, because it's like having 150 people in here at once, which the college is kind of frowning on at this point. So I did the announcements online, and then people had the day to come here, which is kind of interesting. I was at Alton Brown on Capitol Theater on Sunday, and literally there was not an empty seat in the house. It was packed. So I thought, okay, we're going back with a big bang now. Everybody's there. So they had everybody checking your COVID vaccination thing and all that kind of stuff. So it was a good show. But anyway, I'm going to show you a 7-minute video of what I put up when we announced the winners of the show. So I'm going to put the link in the chat box also. If there's any issues about not being able to see the video, you can click on that, but I will play it for you right now. I can figure out where it is. I think it's this one. There we go. I hope that wasn't made you too dizzy going through the gallery. That's just me walking through with my phone. So it's always but I have a little like steady thing that makes it a little bit more steady as I go through. It was interesting that Renee Adams, who does the horsetails, the big hollowed horsetails, I'm not sure if they're married, but her other half is Justin Gibbons, who did Wile E. Coyote. They were both biological illustrators. So she's gone into doing now sculpture, and he does drawings. And actually, he had a whole gallery to himself up in Spokane during the Audubon exhibit up there. So I'm going to switch back over real quick to the slides. And so this is our Central Washington exhibit that's up right now. This was the opening day before people came in. As you can see, we're all set up with wine. It's nice having the wine tasting room next door, so they came over and served wine. But we probably had 100 people throughout the day, so it was really nice having a nice steady flow of people coming in and out. This exhibit is up now until December 11th, so we still got this week and next week to be able to come and see it if you'd like to come see it. We've had a nice steady flow of people coming in and out, and also lots of new people, because I think it's now that we're located a little bit easier to park, people are just pulling up and coming in. So it's been really nice to have that here. I really like, there were people I know, a lot of personal friends that didn't get into this exhibit. They entered but didn't get in, but they've all said how much they love the show, about how the groupings the final selections were really excellent, and they go really well together. So I hope you all get a chance to come and see that. So after this ends on December 11th, we have a surprise. Santa Claus is coming, and he'll be here on December 18th. I've worked with Santa Claus quite a lot, and so my nieces and nephews always think it's cool that Uncle David knows Santa Claus personally. So he comes over. I've had him over to my house and stuff like that in Santa Claus. So he's going to be here on the 18th. We're going to have at the wine tasting room next door, they'll have like a hot mulled wine over there, things like that. We'll have cookies and things like that in the gallery, and it'll just be a free day to come. There will be primarily, we want people to come see Santa and also to shop in the gift shop. We have lots of fun things in the gift shop, including a lot of kids things in there. And it's really nice how much the gift shop is selling. At the old place, we sold a few things every couple months, and we're selling a few things every day. So it's really moved. I have to keep replenishing the shop because it's been a real popular area. On that same day, on Saturday, December 18th, we'll also be selling the remainder of the Sally Fitch collection. So the back gallery, if you didn't come to the original show or original sale that we had of her work, of her clothing and jewelry and things like that, we're going to be selling the rest of it on that same day. So you can come say hi to Santa Claus and then go back to the back room and select things from the Sally Fitch collection. All the stuff, Jim Fitch donated everything. So the money raised from the sale of those items will go to us, to the Larson Gallery, and to the Yakima Valley Museum. So far, we've raised on the first sale about $13,000 that we split between us. So it's been really good. We got a lot of nice stuff left too. So if you've missed out, you'll have to come. I'll have to show you my hat I got. I wanted to then after this, we're gonna we'll be here until the I'll show you my hat real quick. This is I don't know if you can see me up in the corner. Let me stop share for a minute. So this is my hat from Sally. It's an Uyghur hat.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's
good.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like wearing it. It's really actually feels pretty comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we'll be open for, until, after Santa Claus comes, probably a few days the next week up till Christmas Eve, and then we'll be closing down until after the new year. So give us a little break there. And then we'll come back at the beginning of the new year, and then we'll be opening somewhere around January 27th now, the 3 series of prints by Jacob Lawrence. The one thing I was trying to get it here sooner, but there's a lot of issues with shipping. As you were talking about earlier about how it's hard to get your gifts now. They just not they're not getting there on time, they're not shipping. Well, even exhibits are sitting, like I had an exhibit sitting on a freight train in Portland for a while. So things are really difficult to move around at this point. It's coming, it's at this particular exhibit's at a museum in Colorado. And so by the time it'll get up here about January 12th, I think it is. And then we'll be showing it. This is really, if you don't know Jacob Lawrence, I'll read you a little bit about him. He actually ended up, although he was born in Atlantic City, he ended up in Seattle. So he's became a little bit more local. Lawrence was actually born in Atlantic City in 1917 and passed his formative years in New York City's Harlem neighborhood. In the mid-1930s, he took art classes sponsored by the College Art Association and the WPA at the Harlem County Art Center, and following a 2-year scholarship at American Artist School, worked in the easel division of the Federal Art Project. In 1941, Lawrence became the first African-American artist included in the permanent collection of New York's Museum of Modern Art, where he had a one-man exhibit in 1944. He lived and worked in New York City, teaching at numerous schools and universities until 1971, when he accepted a full-time faculty appointment at the University of Washington, Seattle, from which he was retired as professor emeritus in 1983. Lawrence died in Seattle in 2000. So we'll have 3 series of prints. The first exhibit is actually called Genesis. And he says about this that he was actually baptized in the Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem in about 1932. There he attended church, Sunday school, and remembered ministers giving very passionate sermons pertaining to the creation. This was over 50 years ago, and he said these things still stay with you even if you don't realize what an impact these experiences are making you at the time. As I was doing this series, I think that it was back in my mind hearing this minister talk about these things. Another set of prints are about Toussaint L'Ouverture. Pardon my French, whoever speaks French here. These were completed in 1938 and is now in the Armistead Research Center in New Orleans. Toussaint L'Ouverture was a leader in the Haitian Revolution. Born a slave, he rose to become commander-in-chief of the Revolutionary Army. In 1800, he coordinated the effort to draw up Haiti's first democratic constitution. However, in 1802, before the Republic was firmly established, Toussaint was arrested by Napoleon Bonaparte's troops and sent to Paris, where he was imprisoned. He died in prison the following year. In 1804, Haiti became the first Black Western Republic. And then these are about Hiroshima. So this was, Lawrence selected a book to write on, or to do a limited edition for this club in New York. He picked this book called Hiroshima. The work was selected because of its power, insight, scope, and sensitivity, as well as its overall content. His intent was to illustrate a series of events that were taking place at the moment of the dropping of the bomb, August 6, 1945. He said, the challenge for me was to execute 8 works: a marketplace, a playground, a street scene, a park, farmers, a family scene, a man with birds, and a boy with a kite. He said it's a bit not ironic that we have produced great scientists, great musicians, great orators, chess players, philosophers, poets, and great teachers, and at the same time we have developed the capability and the genius to create the means to devastate and completely destroy our earth with all its life and beauty. So that's exhibits coming in January, February. The one thing I'm also going to add to that, because of help with a grant that the college is working on it's what they call a universal design grant, to make things more accessible to people with disabilities, and also different ways people learn. That with this show, I'm developing a cell phone tour that will also be bilingual and have things like visual descriptive service for the blind, things like that on it. So that's all going to be done in the next week or month. So
Wow.
I've kind of started it. But Leanna is here. She's very good at that. So she's going to help me develop that thing. So we're already starting to dive into it. And I'm going through the Smithsonian and some other American Alliance of Museum have come up with standards for, helping people with, like people in wheelchairs, things like that, to assist them. So we're using this exhibit as kind of a platform to launch a new way for people to use like universal design concepts. Universal design, if you think about it, if you're going through like a door, like maybe someone has arthritis, can't open a doorknob. Well, if you have a door that automatically opens, like in a grocery store when you walk in, that enables not only the person who can't do the doorknob, but also people who can. So it's a universal design, meaning it's designed for everybody. So it helps everybody. And so the whole idea of the universal design in education is that you develop tools that can be useful to everybody, no matter what language they speak or no matter what, if they have disabilities, et cetera, things like that. So it's an interesting concept. And the college got a big grant, so I thought I'd hop on. So that's going to be what this is for. After Jacob Lawrence, in March, opening March 19th, is this group called Artworks Northwest. They used to be called Cyber Art 509. They changed their name. The Artworks Northwest is a group, an artist cooperative, about 60 artists from the Tri-Cities and surrounding areas. So what the Artworks Northwest do is they try to promote local artists via exhibits and shows, developing working relationships with local businesses and galleries to exhibit art, mentor emerging artists, and educate the public about the arts. So because they have 60 artists, they're going to submit 4 works each, and I'm going to jury it and decide what goes in the final thing. I don't know. Maybe I know 1 or 2 of these artists, so at this point they can't get mad at me if I don't pick a piece because they don't know me yet. So I'm just going to jury it myself. It was actually easier than just telling them to send me a bunch of stuff, so I think this will be a little bit easier. So following the Artworks Northwest exhibit will be our student and faculty show. Now we haven't. Our last one was done in 2019. We did a student faculty show online this last year, but this will be the first time it's back in the gallery, which is going to be great. Now, saying that, the school still is having trouble with how many students are coming back. So coming up in winter quarter, there are, our students are attending labs. And I know that Rachel's had her ceramic students in the classroom throwing pots. So I think the arts are continuing to come into the classroom. But I've heard other teachers are doing kind of half in the classroom, half home. I've asked for spring quarter for me to be able to teach in the classroom. So I'm hoping by spring, we're going to be back in the classroom. I do a class called Art and Yoga, and the first 5 minutes of the class, they actually do yoga, and it's hard to do that over Zoom. So I just want to be back in the classroom and just get back to work. So following the student show, we have the Larson Gallery members exhibit. So one benefit about being a member of the Larson Gallery Guild is that you can have 1 piece in this exhibit. And so we have about 350 members. We usually get about 80 pieces, I think, for this show. So it ends up being a really good show. Also, artists tend to pick their favorite piece. So we usually get a group of really good pieces. So one thing I found that other places do this too, like Gallery 1 in Ellensburg. You can do the same thing. You can put a piece, if you're a member up there, you can put a piece in their show. Robert Graves, which is at Wenatchee College, does the same thing. So I was kind of thinking that you could join all these galleries all around the United States and put a piece in every single members exhibit if you wanted to do it that way. But apparently there's a lot of people doing this. So this ends up being a really good show. And it's really fun for the beginning of summer. There's a couple of things I'm looking at for summer. We didn't used to do a summer show because we closed mostly for August. Since the wine group is here now, we like to be open like we were this summer. This summer we did the Out of the Wood show with wood. I'm looking at the art of Paul Hustenstam, who I know, and I've actually bought a few pieces. If you go to my house, you kind of find them all over my house. So last time I saw him, we met up in Costa Rica because we were at a workshop there. And he said, oh yeah, I come through Washington all the time. He lives in California, but he would come through and do a mandala painting workshop, which I think would be really fun to do. I haven't yet confirmed with him, but I'm kind of thinking he could even be in one gallery where there's another show in the other gallery. So we can split it two, or the one thing I was looking at was having ceramics next summer too. So hopefully we'll move towards this direction. I think this might be a really fun show for the summer. I actually own that gold Buddha one up in the corner. That's one of the ones I have in my house. Then after the summer, we move into the Women Painters of Washington. And they're doing a show called Intersections. Delma, are you part of the Women Painters of Washington? No, yes. I don't know if you are. I think you're on mute, Delma, but I was curious if you might be. I know that there were only a few from the West Side. And what's really interesting is the Women Painters of Washington started here, and then being more Western, and now quite a few artists from here are joining up again. So they're getting more of a West or a East Side presence. So after that will come this fall. This exhibit's been planned actually for several years. They like to plan way far in advance, and so they will be having their show in the fall, and then we'll move again to the 67th annual Central Washington Art Exhibit. So everything's pretty much planned up through the end of 2022, which is good. I haven't even thought past that yet, so don't ask me what's happening after that. But things usually appear. Delma, did you figure it? Are you in the Women Painters of Washington?
There she is.
No,
No.
no. What did you ask me again?
If you were in the Women Painters of Washington group.
No.
Okay. It's funny because they asked for more people from the East Side, but then everybody I know is not necessarily a painter, so I think they're gonna need to loosen the restrictions. They need to be women artists of Washington and open up their criteria a little bit more. But they're pretty, you have to go through a kind of a screening period, and then they choose you and that kind of thing. So some people have been kind of reluctant to go through the process. But when I look back at the early history of Larson Gallery, the first couple of years, Women Painters of Washington showed here quite a bit. So it's been around for a long time. So are there any questions about what I've talked about so far?
No, but David, I
Yeah.
am so grateful that I didn't have to become a photographer too.
Yes.
You're
Yeah,
really,
that's kind of been the thing.
that's asking a lot of you, but you're
Yeah.
really doing a good job with that.
Thank you.
I can see how necessary it is.
It's and my new the new registrar here, Leanna, who's been here for a few months, is really good at doing stuff on the internet. So that really helps. But yeah, you have to make it all available now online. Yes.
David, I have a question. Did you not mention the tour of artists' homes and studios because you're not doing it, or because
You're not doing it? We decided, must have been July, we're not going to do it this next year because everything's so iffy at this point. And we decided the board decided that we had our Fresh Air Art Festival we did in July when it was 106 degrees. We're going to do that again, but we're going to do it in May. So the time when we usually do our tour of homes, we're going to do the Fresh Air Art Festival. And
What about that?
And so it'll be on May 14th. And we're hoping we'll probably be at the Greenway like we have been before. And we're going to add, we had 40 artists, I think, last time. We're going to add more, and then hopefully add like a beer and wine tent, start expanding it, and try to see if we can figure out ways of making money on it. So we actually made a little bit last year, but we want to make it more substantial. So I think that it could be, I wouldn't say necessarily could replace the tour of homes, but it can replace the kind of the big dinner events we used to do. So make it a signature thing for Larson Gallery to do this Fresh Air Art Festival and make more money that way.
David, give us an idea of what you have in the gift shop.
So we have some pretty neat things. We have books. I've already started getting some books in by Jacob Lawrence. I have a lot of things for kids, like rock painting, kids books. I have some kids books on Jacob Lawrence. There are It's funny, all the little kids things that I want to play with, I buy. So I put them in the gift shop and literally they're sold like within a day or two. So
Yeah.
it's like all the big kids like me like them immediately. So I bought this one thing that sings the Baby Shark thing, song, which it drives everyone crazy. I've sold 5 of them already. So I've had to replenish the stock. So there are, besides books and kids things, there are smaller things by local artists. So the Mike Heiler has quite a few clay pieces. Randall Leake has wood pieces. Bernadette has some of her ceramics. There are a lot of things like Pat Miller and has some of his wood things. So there are a lot of smaller gift ideas for especially from local artists, so especially for Christmas. So one of the things I tend to do now is give people art for Christmas. And it's like my sisters love it because it's just kind of a, rather than going and buying something from a regular store, I think it's kind of fun to give them something unique. It doesn't have to be real big. It can be a small little piece of work of art and they love it. We have lots of jewelry. So local jewelers like Cindy Bacon. I have a jeweler, Sarah Robison, who was here. She moved to Bend, but I've shipped some of her stuff up here because she does these beautiful alcohol ink pendants, things like that. So we have lots of jewelry, lots of ceramic, a lot of things by local artists, but also books, and we're getting more things in a day. I got some books yesterday on making paper snowflakes. So a lot of things around art, so you can make your, even though we used to just randomly cut, making paper snowflakes. This is a book that tells you all about different cuts you can make. So little fun things like that. So there's some Christmas things, but mostly a lot of fun gift ideas.
Are you selling secondhand art books?
We could, yeah, we could. I hadn't even thought about that, but we could. I have some books in here too, just to give away to people. So it's really fun. And I have lots of neat little fun things like Larson Gallery logo things. So buttons and corkscrews. Next time you're in, ask me for a corkscrew.
Everybody's on the bag thing because we can't use the bags.
Yeah.
Right. Can't, or the canvas bags. So
Yeah, I actually have more over at the other gallery. I should bring them over.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to, these ones have the old logo, so you're willing to take them. It's funny about that because for the past year and a half, we couldn't take bags, and then now we have to take bags.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of goofy. Now it's like they're going to charge you if you don't bring it.
I know. Yeah.
I had gotten used to bringing my own bags, and then I had to train myself not to.
I know.
Now I have to train myself to bring them again.
Right. Exactly.
So, of a struggle, but yeah, I thanks for the reminder. I'll go get our logo bags that are at the other gallery in storage and bring them over here.
Cool.
Can you remind us what days and hours you're open now?
We're open Tuesday through Saturday. So Tuesday through Friday from 10 to 5, Saturday from 12 to 5. The winery is open Friday and Saturday from 12 to 5. And actually, it's so nice tonight, we can even sit out there.
I know what's happening.
So
yeah,
it's so nice out there. But we have, what's nice about it, if you haven't had wine in the little outside sculpture garden area, there's 2 fire pits out there, so you can cuddle next to the fire pits. It's pretty nice.
Fun.
We're going to eventually get awnings out there too, to be more for shade primarily, because it was pretty hot there this summer.
Yeah.
So they're on order.
Nice.
Yep, and I used every pedestal that I have ordered originally, and 10 more, there are 10 pedestals and 10 more are coming. I figured out there was a little bit left in the state grant that I got, so I squeezed them into the end of that. So we've got 10 more extra pedestals and I didn't have to spend a dime,
Yeah.
part of that. So those are coming, which is really fun. All with acrylic tops. The problem with all that is I keep buying more stuff and I have to find places to put it. So I'm already getting filled up over here.
Yeah.
But I hope you come and see the show and also come back for Santa and Sally Fitch's sale.
Yeah.
The 18th, because you can get even a cool hat like mine. So.
I got that from Sally too.
Did you? Yeah, you did.
Hey.
Susan
Hey,
was
Susie.
there. This is pretty
That's
warm.
so
This hat.
cute on you. Yeah. We should have a whole hat
We
party
should.
or whatever.
We should.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
There's still some hats left, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sally
Yeah.
was small, so a lot of her clothing, it's kind of hard to fit into.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff too. There's jewelry and all kinds of fun stuff.
Well, as Delma would remember, Horizon House, in Seattle, Jacob Lawrence and his wife lived there in their last years. And I worked there, and their artwork, his artwork was a lot of his artwork was around the common area. And you were just like, oh, hello. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Plus his wife had some artwork too, Gwen Lawrence. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So that kind of makes me feel nostalgic, or I don't know. Like,
one thing about having this new gallery is that it met the criteria to be able to have this exhibit. So that's one of the benefits,
nice.
having this new lighting and control and all that. And so this is like the first of the cool exhibits we can get here. So I'm hoping for more of them. You see, I have an article in the paper tomorrow about the exhibit at Portland Art Museum of Queen Nefertiti. And so, I mean, someday wouldn't it be cool to get something like that here, something really fun. But I think that the more we get accredited, the more things we have in place, we can hope for bigger and better things here all the time.
Heritage asked for my art book
Oh, good.
collection, and so it's good to know you'll have a space for them.
Yeah. I know that, Heritage has an art library for the students, and I think that they have one here. But I'm not in the art room somewhere, but I'm not sure. I know that the previous ceramics instructor, Aaron, was trying to build it, and I'm not sure where it is right now. I think that was when they were in the old building, which was, was taken out. I think they may have moved the books over to the new one. I'm not sure. But hopefully we're moving towards everyone coming back to class.
Great.
Slowly but surely. But we're open. So, and the conference center down the way is renting now. So they're having conferences there.
That's good.
Things are moving along.
Okay, anyone else have questions for David? David, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yay.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Good to see all of you. I hope to see you here at the gallery soon.
good.
Come in, ask
will.
for your logo swag. I'll get you some things.
Yeah.
Go get some of those tote bags over here.
Yes. Awesome. Yay.
Yeah. They're actually refrigerated. I mean, they've got a cooler pack in them, so you can keep things cold.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, David.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
So let me just tell you really quickly, folks, that on December 15th, we've got the Yakima Coffee House Poets coming up. And they're going to read poetry, but they're also going to talk about how their group got started. And they're going to talk about ways that we can be involved with them if we need to. And in January, we've got Joe Miles coming. He's the historian who is going to talk about the Old West history during the 1850s, especially Chief Kamiakin, during the conflicts between warriors and soldiers in early Washington territory. He's done a lot of really interesting research on Kamiakin. So I hope you'll join us for those.
What was that date?
That date is the 19th of January. So
Oh,
December
okay.
15th is the poets and January 19th is Joe Miles.
Okay.
It's going to be great.
We'll send out emails too.